Welcome back to Winning the Division, episode number 91. I am your co-host, Ryan Smith. Alongside me here, as usual, former NFL tight end Ben Troupe, played for the Bucs, the Raiders, and the Titans, and also at the University of Florida. With our guest tonight, also contributing in that area, the University of Florida. Let's welcome in for the VIkings, for Gators, NFL Draft, AtoZSportsNFL. You also can catch him on his YouTube channel, the pod, VIkings First and Skull, at the real Forno on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Tyler Forness. Tyler, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, gentlemen. I appreciate you having me. It's a beautiful Monday in Minnesota, a balmy 15 degrees. Gotta love it.
Oh, man.
And this is why, starting the podcast, I do not live in Minnesota, right there. That is exactly why. I don't care how good the summers are. You could not sell me on the winter. No, thank you. Yes,
you gotta get used to it. You gotta get used to it. It ain't.
I'm not complaining, but I'm sorry, Tyler. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
It's not the cold. It's not the cold, Smitty. It's the black ice. See.
Yep.
You got to know how to maneuver that black. It is unforgiving, by the way. It doesn't matter. I don't care what type of tires you got. I don't care what type of treads you got.
Yep.
And you notice the people in the snow don't walk fast. There's a reason why. They ain't. I got to get that good traction, because if you hit that black ice, if you've ever seen them Home Alone movies and people be flying up in there, that stuff is real. Your body will do some stuff on black ice that body shouldn't do. But hey, and yes, I am speaking from experience when I used to live in New Jersey. I had to learn the hard way. But, New Jersey cold ain't Minnesota cold. But, it's Minnesota. It's the winter. They got real winters. 15 degrees. Tyler, is that without a wind chill? That's just 15 degrees, no wind chill.
Just 15 degrees, no wind chill. And to be honest, we had a couple days where it was like negative 40 with the wind chill. But the first day of that cold stretch was like negative 30. You could just go out with a coat and be fine for like a couple minutes, walk to the mailbox, no problem. It's the wind that gets you. And I grew up here. I lived in the Midwest my entire life. There's something to it where if you move down south, you lose all ability to handle cold because your blood kind of gets warmer. And you just lose that ability to just adapt to the surroundings. My sister-in-law has been in Scottsdale, Arizona for 7 years. Cold kicks her butt way more than it used to, and she's born and raised here.
She got spoiled. You go to Arizona, you go to the South. That's the crazy part. When you're from the Midwest or you from them cold states, you get used to it. Then you go to them hot states, and you're saying, I got to get used to this humidity. And then you go home for the winter. You go home for like the holidays. You don't want to go anywhere. You just want to go in the house and sit. Like, I'm not going anywhere. It's crazy. Hold on, Tyler. No, you just said the other day it was negative 40. Absolutely not.
30, negative 30. Yeah.
No. When he said it, me and Smitty like, wait. The news.
Anyway.
Whoever does the weather says it's going to be a negative 40 tomorrow. Absolutely not. What? No. I didn't even know it could get that cold. Negative 40?
Do you remember the VIkings Seahawks playoff game from about 10 years ago when Blair Walsh missed the 27-yarder?
Yes.
At kickoff, it was like that morning, it was like negative 45 wind chill. Bud Grant walked out. It was like negative 30 wind chill with just a polo T-shirt on. Nothing more Minnesotan than that.
I mean...
Okay. All right. Enough on the cold. Let's keep this moving. I got to keep this moving here. Let's start out with the Gators, Tyler. We'll get to the VIkings. I have a lot of questions on Minnesota. We'll get there. Ben, obviously former tight end for the Gators, as I said at the top of the show, for those who may be newer to the podcast. So talk to us about your Gator affiliation. We'll start there. And being on here with a former Florida Gator.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Shout out that 2001 team might be my favorite football team of all time.
I was on that 2001 team.
I know you were.
I preface this. Did people listen first? The listeners. 9/11 was awful. It was the worst thing to ever happen to America. If there is no 9/11, which we wish it was not, we are winning the national championship. I have no doubt in my mind because we would have played Tennessee on 9/11, and they had a lot of people hurt. Alex Haynesworth, Overstreet, all those guys were actually healthy when we had to play them at the end of the year. But I get to say that I was on Steve Spurrier's last championship team in 2000. That was my freshman year. And we beat the brakes off of Maryland. And that's back when Maryland was winning ACC championships.
Yep.
They're not doing it anymore. We beat the brakes off of them in the Orange Bowl. We beat them so bad that Taylor Jacobs, who was Orange Bowl MVP at receiver, only played in the first half. He did not play in the second half. It was that. And I had cracked ribs that was getting healed, and they threw me a pass, and somebody hit me in the side out of spite, and they broke them. And that's how I had to deal with my offseason. If you've ever had cracked ribs, broke ribs, you can't do anything. Like you can't really do surgery. They can't wrap it. It was. Imagine my South Beach experience down there in Miami with cracked ribs. That's like being in Minnesota, negative 40 degrees, baby. It was a little bit different for me. But while I do have you here, Tyler, talking about them Gators, your early impressions of Coach Summerall.
I love Coach Summerall. When the hiring process began, I was a big Kiffin guy. I'm like, hey, it just felt like if it was going to happen, it was going to happen right now, because Kiffin has modeled himself off of Steve Spurrier, has a huge connection with the Florida Gators and the program, but it didn't happen. But the guy I always wanted outside of him was Summerall, because when you watch his ascension from being a co-defensive coordinator in Kentucky, and then the success he had at Troy, and then the success he had at Tulane, because he lost Darian Mensah and Mekhi Hughes, his two best players, and he got ravaged by the portal, and then took that Tulane team to even bigger heights and made the college football playoff the next season. Everything about him just feels authentic. With Napier, you didn't get that same vibe. You got I'm not going to say fake, but with Summerall, when he speaks to the media and he goes on all these podcasts and stuff, you feel like every word that he says, he believes to his core. And to me, I think that's such a big thing for this Gators team. Napier kind of helped force them to rebuild some of the infrastructure, get upgrades in facilities. And now you have a guy who is putting all the right pieces in place. These assistant coaches are doing a great job on the recruiting trail. And everybody just seems to be in sync and aligned. They were able to keep the big guys in the building outside of DJ Lagway. I'm not going to say that he's going to be this great coach for the Gators. He has to do it on Saturdays. That was the number one thing that just Napier couldn't do. But I can't help but think that there are so many parallels to Urban Meyer at Utah, to where the quick ascension, the 2 years of great work at Bowling Green, the 2 years of great work at Utah, then he comes to Florida, takes over the program that Ron Zook had, and then elevates it to the next level. Summerall, I think, has the tools and traits to be that guy, but he's still got to prove it.
Ben, you're the Florida guy. Go ahead.
The transparency. The thing about a lot of these coaches now, they're very buttoned up, especially if they're a brand new coach. They're doing national media. They're not doing podcasts. I've seen Summerall do more podcasts in 3 weeks than I've seen most coaches do in a whole coaching career. You mentioned, like authenticity and different things. The way in which, when they ask him about what do you say to a player if you don't, man, you getting paid, dog. I don't want to hear that. Like, you getting paid. Like, how refreshing is it to have a coach that doesn't give you the coach speak, the coach answers? Because now, like you just said, Tyler, he can do no wrong now. He ain't coach yet. He ain't really felt how Florida can be, will be, is. But just talk about the willingness to go on these podcasts and say, look, I'm new to Gainesville. I don't really know who to say no to right now. So I'm saying yes. That's probably not that level of, dare I say, access. I don't know if it's going to continue to be that. But you got to appreciate the fact that anybody, I might ask him to come on here to see if you want to talk a little, but you got to appreciate the fact that he's willing to put himself out there and say, look, this is who I am. This is what you're getting. I used to be the head coach of Tulane, man. Most people don't even know what Tulane is. There ain't many people on the planet Earth don't know where the University of Florida is. Talk about his, the access he's given and the level of transparency he's willing. He's kind of an open book right now. At least that's what he's giving off.
He is trying to build up a rapport with these people who have just a massive passion for the program, love the university, and just want to see it succeed. I agree with you, Ben. I don't see this level of access continuing. I don't think he's going to go on all of these podcasts regularly. It may be, hey, come February, I'll join you one more time.
Yeah.
And we'll do it like an every February thing. Up here in Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell does very few podcasts, but it always seems to be like one appearance during the summer when it's the downtime. And I think Summerall feels like that kind of guy. And it's good that he's reaching out and he's trying to build up relationships with media, because as a head coach, you don't want to talk to the media, but that's part of the game. You have to have relationships. You have to be able to have these people in your good graces so they can talk about you fairly and they don't have a negative agenda. So I think he's doing all the right things. We'll see how that translates the second he loses a big game in Gainesville and how he reacts to it. And then how everybody else reacts to his reaction. That's going to be the big test for me. But he's passing everything right now. And I think he's doing a way better job of it than Napier did when he came in. And I was a big Napier guy at the time. But you always look at things in hindsight. It's always 2020.
Yeah.
But just trying to compare and contrast, I'm way more bullish on Summerall than I ever was on Napier.
Last one for me before we get to these Minnesota Vikings. You mentioned DJ Lagway. He's moved on to Baylor. Obviously, he's from that area. Parents went there and different things. But while Florida wanted DJ Lagway, he had to get Jaden Ball. And he got Jaden Ball back. How big was that for him, even though he's inheriting these players? You know how Florida, I don't care who you are, sir. Jaden Ball better be wearing orange and blue come the fall of 2026.
Oh, it was massive. And the fact that he took his entire family and multiple assistant coaches to visit Jaden in his home and really sold the program. And I think the mindset he has right now with NIL and the fact, look, you're college kids, but you're making money. You're pros and act like it. And treating these guys both like college kids and professional athletes, I think is a really important approach, because not only did he keep Baugh, he kept Bernell Brown, he kept Dallas Wilson, he kept Jaden Woods, and he kept 17 of the 19 recruits that Napier had committed before he got fired. Ooh. A very, very impressive start to that recruiting process, because you are recruiting your entire roster every single year. And they did a really good job of keeping the main core pieces together. Now you fortify it with some really strong high school recruiting. They're doing a great job of really attacking the trenches with Phil Troutwine. I'm really impressed with the direction, but you're right. It started with Jaden Baugh. Now that you have Baugh, you got this great receiving core. And if Aaron Philo's your guy at quarterback, all he has to do is operate the offense. Just operate it at a good level. You don't have to be overly dynamic. Let your playmakers make plays and do the things that guys like DJ Lagway and Anthony Richardson the last few years haven't been able to do. Just execute on time and in structure. You do that, this team could go really far come December and January.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a slight game here that I did not prep either of you on, because my dad's a Florida grad, so I'll jump into my own game as well. You can't mention Ben, because he's on the pod. It's very easy. It'd be an easy answer. You can't mention Team Tebow for what I'm about to say, obviously. Top 5 most underappreciated Florida Gator football players.
Oh, that's really good.
Wow. Underappreciated? Wow.
Or you can say under-recognized or...
No. Underappreciated is a good word. I think that's a good word. And you know what, Jameed, that's how lit. That's how.
I'll let you guys think. Here's my 5. Here's my 5. I'll let you think. Here's my 5.
Okay.
And these are from all eras that I'm about to say. Okay. Let's go with Cornelius Ingram. Played your position, Ben.
I like seeing Ingram.
Yeah, very good guy. And these are in no order. I just picked 5. It was hard to pick 5, but I picked 5. That's number 1. Number 2, Dallas Baker. I know he was a little bit.
Dallas Baker, the touchdown maker. Yeah, playing with Dallas.
He was a star player, sort of, but I think he was still underappreciated for a lot of the Florida teams. Number 3, and I'm gonna. This might ruffle some feathers. Rex Grossman, come on! I mean, Rex had a nice career in the NFL, took the Bears to the Super Bowl, and he had an underappreciated Florida Gators career. He's number 3. Number 4. Why is this guy's name escaping me right now? I'll come back to him. I didn't write this down beforehand because I literally did this 10 minutes before I hopped on here. Okay, so that guy's escaping me. He'll come back. Number 5. Give me a guy that you already said, Ben. We reference him all the time. You didn't say him tonight, but we reference him all the time in the national championship games and different places that the Florida Gators have been. Give me Ahmad Black, safety.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Ahmad was
is an absolute demon.
I think he led college football in picks one year, man. Something crazy.
Yeah, he did.
He was an absolute demon on the field for the Florida Gators. And then the guy that I was trying to think of, and I was like, why can I not think of the guy's name? It just went out of my – but give me Jarvis Moss. Come on, man.
Jarvis Moss. Mr. Block the pick against South Carolina himself.
Bengals, Jarvis Moss.
That's a really, really good players, though. You got your top.
I could have done a lot, but anyway. So those are my 5. You can repeat 1 or 2 if you'd like, but that's my 5. And I could have picked a lot more. I just chose
top 5 underappreciated. Wow, man! It's so many players that was they get cluttered with the players that was really, 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 really good. Top 5. You know what? I'll go with this. I'll start this. One of my top 5 is Kevin Taylor, the son of freaking Fred Taylor. I think he's the last 1,000-yard. He was like I think Jada might have got, but I think to want to be a legacy player, to want to come behind your dad, Fred Taylor. You ain't afraid of much. You ain't afraid of smoke. Fred Taylor's one. And I know people, I think Kyle Trask is so underappreciated. God, this dude came in after Felipe Franks, and he led the nation in touchdown passes. The nation. Not the SEC. 43 touchdown passes. Man, there's so many players to name, man. You know what? He's underappreciated because of the guys that came behind him, to me. The most underappreciated is the originator. Shane Matthews, people do not know how good Shane was.
He was awesome.
Shane started it all with Coach Spurrier. He's the one that started, and then he came after him. Shane doesn't get enough love for how incredible of a player he is. Man, there's so many players out there, man. Golly. That's 3. 2 more. Another player that was underappreciated, man. You know what? He ain't underappreciated, but people don't. And I played with this dude because everybody talk about like these D linemen now, like the Javon. Alex Brown leads. He has the most sacks. AB was nasty. War number 13 had 5 sacks in one game against the Tennessee Vols in '99. I'm gonna give AB my number 4. My number 5 most underappreciated. Man, there's so many guys I can go with. Underappreciated player that doesn't get enough love. You know what? I'm gonna tell you, don't get enough love. He was on the national championship. Louis Murphy. Yep. Louis Murphy, because once again, it's so many guys. You got Percy, you got Dallas. You got Aaron Hernandez. You got the Pouncey. Louis Murphy. Go back to them teams. He was very, very clutch. So shout out to Lou Murphy, man. It's so many guys when you say underappreciated because the big names are so big that we forget. But yeah, that would be, and I could give a whole nother list, but that would be my top 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, great shout out with Louis Murphy. I'm gonna go to a really underappreciated guy with my first one. I had Kyle Trask on my list. Super underappreciated. Everybody talks about the fact he didn't have an NFL arm. I don't care. He was incredible in that 2020 year. Never started a high school game because he sat behind Derek King, and he still threw for like 2,000 yards in his senior year of high school. One of my favorite recruiting stories. My second guy, a fullback on those Urban Meyer teams, Billy Latsko.
I love Billy Latsko.
I love Billy. Yeah.
Listen, the 2006 team, a lot of those dudes' freshman year was 2003. That was my senior. Yep. So I got to play with Billy Latz and those guys. I was so happy for those dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that offense had no business having a fullback, but Urban understood his personnel, and he and Mullen crafted an offense to maximize a player of Latsko's capability. And he blocked for one of my favorite Gator running backs of all time, Deshaun Wynn.
D-Win from Cincinnati, baby.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit for being one of the better Gator backs because, you've got the names of Emmitt Smith, Fred Taylor, and then recent guys like Ben, you mentioned Kelvin Taylor, like Trevor Etienne, Montrell Johnson. There have been so many good backs. Wynn just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think, and in those years, they got the big transfer from USC, Manuel Moody, who just never was able to crack. But the idea was he would take that job, and Wynn kept him away from it. He ended up being one of my favorite Gators. My fourth guy, I know he got kicked off the team, but Janoris Jenkins coming in as a
Jack
true
Rabbit.
freshman.
Jack Rabbit was so nice, man. That secondary, God, they had a lot of players, man. Jack Rabbit, Joe Hayden, Major Wright, and Amari Black. That's the freaking secondary.
I know. Wow. That's why Florida's known as DBU for a long time. Yeah, and then my last guy, I know you played with him, Ben. He's probably my favorite Gator, Jabbar Gaffney.
Oh man, Jabbo is the Gaffney family, the royal family at the University of Florida is obviously, the Jacksons, Willie Jackson Sr., Willie Jackson Jr., Terry Jackson, Khalil Jackson.
Yeah.
Jabbar Gaffney got there in 99. I got there in 2000. They used to have freshman locker rooms. So when we got there in 2000, he was in our locker room for about 2 weeks. I watched Jabbar Gaffney catch an 80-yard touchdown pass against South Carolina and do the Heisman. He took it 80 because, he caught a slant. Jabbar, my receivers when I was there was Jabbar Gaffney, Riche Caldwell, and Taylor Jacobs. Who's going to stop that? No one's going to stop that.
And your fourth guy was Carlos Perez, and he wasn't
the fifth guy, check this out. The depth chart was Jabbar, Riche, Taylor Jacobs, Carlos Perez, Kelvin Kite, and coming behind them was Andre Caldwell, the brother of Riche. We got him. It's Florida. I be talking to some of my old teammates all the time, Tyler. I be like, man, I didn't realize all this Alito Shepherd.
Yeah.
People talk about Joe Hayden. And you know who's underappreciated? Vernon Hargrave. Vernon Hargraves was nasty at Florida.
Incredible player.
At Florida now. At Florida, that's what I'm saying. DBU, they were just pumping him in. Oh, man, Quincy Wilson. What was the other guy on the other side? Oh, my most underrated cornerback of all time, and Tyler, you're going to know, Tease Table. Tease Table was nasty. I saw him pick off a freaking screen. They tried to give me that. It was Tease on one side, Quincy Wilson on the other side. His brother, Marco came behind. Like I say, Florida, man, don't get me started. That team that's on the Panhandle will go unnamed, and that team down south that just got beat by Indiana will go unnamed. But Florida been doing it. I just want Florida to get back. Yes, we're the biggest brand, but I want the brand on the field to match the brand name. And then let's see. Let's see if Florida can start cracking these top tens, man, and see if we can make it. Because if we make the college football playoff.
I agree. And you didn't even mention my favorite cornerback duo of all time, Luchez Purifoy and Marcus Roberson. I love those dudes, man. So many great DBs at this school.
And obviously the greatest DB.
Oh my goodness!
Hold on, obviously the greatest DB, even though he's not the eraser, right? Mr. Reggie Nelson. If you put it in the air, that's mine. Mm-hmm. Nasty, man. I remember that. Yeah,
we can keep going for hours on this, boys. But while we still got Tyler here, let's go over now to the Minnesota Vikings and the draft. We can kind of mix these two with the draft coming up too. So I want to hear about some of your prospects that you like, and we can get there too. Ben, I'll let you talk to Tyler about your JJ McCarthy and whoever else you want to bring up. But I'm going to bring up one guy really quick because Tyler, you're talking to two NFC South guys here. Ben's the Falcons. I'm Panthers. So guy I'm bringing up is not Adam Thielen. Don't worry, he's retired now. Jalen Redmond. He was undrafted from Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. He goes to the Panthers. And as you know, we were coached by Matt Rule at this time. And essentially, they didn't give Redmond a shot, if I'm just going to be honest. And he goes to Minnesota, and he finds his fit, and he is balling. I see him on one Sunday night football game with the TFL, and I'm like, is that the same Jalen Redmond that was weighed by the Carolina Panthers in preseason doing this for the Minnesota Vikings on defense? And I looked it up and I said, it sure heck is. And oh my gosh. So I know you didn't think that's where I was going, but I love me some Jalen Redmond on the Minnesota Vikings, and I wish he was a Carolina Panther right now. So I just had to say that before we really got into some other players, and so I wanted to tell you.
I don't blame you, man. Redmond's incredible, and he kind of came out. He had some medical issues, which was why he ended up going undrafted. And
Yep.
I don't think the Panthers defense was the right fit for him. So I wouldn't necessarily feel bad about the fact that you quote unquote missed, because how Brian Flores wants to attack with his defensive linemen, they did a ton of slanting and just trying to get those defensive tackles penetrating gaps because they didn't have a nose. So they were trying other ways to create issues in the run game. And even though they were 20th in total run defense, they were 5th in yards per carry allowed. So they were stopping guys at just 4 yards a pop. And Redmond, he's just a gap shooter, and they use him to the best of his ability. So sometimes fit just matters so much. And they got another guy who they signed out of the CFL, Jalen Hutchings from the Calgary Stampeders, who went undrafted out of Texas Tech a few years ago. Same type of player, same body type, same play style, and being able to thrive in Brian Flores' defense. They could have just found another Jalen Redmond. So I'm really excited about that. The defense is so much fun to watch because it's like you're taking like psychotic pills because of all the crazy stuff that he likes to do in the back end. But that, at the end of the day, coverages are pretty simple. It's the package to get there that's bonkers.
How big was it that Brian Flores didn't leave for a head coaching job? I think the lawsuit might have had something to do with that, but nevertheless, he's still here.
It absolutely had something to do with it. A lot of teams won't touch a guy like that. Art Rooney probably would have hired Brian Flores if Mike McCarthy wasn't available, but he just kind of fell for, I'm going to hire a Pittsburgh guy. And I think a lot of that has to do with missing on Dan Marino in 1983 because he didn't want to take Marino because he was a Pittsburgh guy. So most teams won't touch Flores because not only is he suing the NFL, he's suing 3 other teams, and it's going to discovery. So we're going to start getting some really juicy information on the hiring practices. Like it's a tough one for him, but he's getting $6 million to be a DC. I'm sure
$6 million.
Yeah. I'm sure the professional in him wants to be a head coach, but he's got it made in Minnesota.
We was on the subject earlier of underappreciated players. I think the most underappreciated player, but a player that's going to be hard to replace in Minnesota secondary is Harrison Smith. He's been there so long. People be like, wait a minute. Harrison Smith still played for Minnesota. Harrison Smith was born in '89. Listen. He's been around to see the ebbs and flows of the Minnesota Vikings. He's been around to see, Stephon Diggs have that incredible catch. Listen, that safety, you duck your head, you lose, it's over. Yeah. Harrison Smith, what do they do with him, one, and how do they replace not just his production, but his veteran leadership got to be something that's really kind of been the glue, not just to the defense, but to that team.
Yeah, it's weird. I know you say underappreciated, but I think that's a more national thing. I don't think this town could appreciate him anymore. He does everything for this defense. He calls the plays. He keeps these guys in line as far as communication, and he's just so intelligent. He's lost the step. He just does not have the same athleticism. He's 36. I'm his age. I have no athleticism left. I can't imagine how a great athlete feels when they're getting to this point in their life. But so much of what he's always been good at has been the intelligence. He's just smarter than you. And he does this thing where he'll sneak up to the line of scrimmage. He'll see something and he'll just go on a rogue blitz and he'll just rush the passer. Not called. And Mike Zimmer always encouraged it because when Smith did it, he was always right. He was never wrong and it never backfired on him. And Flores gives him pretty much complete autonomy to kind of do whatever he wants. That defense is a very player-led defense. They are just as involved in play calling and game planning as any unit that I've ever covered or like had information on. These players are so in the weeds with Flores. He will just go up to him and be like, what do you think about this? And then they'll just have like a legit back and forth instead of coaches normally going, hey, we're going to go run this. Mm-hmm. They are incredibly in lockstep with Flores. And that's why it has been such a sustained success over 3 years. If they lose him, it's going to suck. But if they get a really good player in there, I don't think the drop-off is going to be as severe as it would have been maybe 2 or 3 years ago because he has taken that step back athletically.
Sounds like a coach situation that, like, I mean, if they'll make an exception for any player, he walks right out of. He don't walk out the building, but he take off his pads and put on a headset to go look. Mm-hmm. You can only help us. I mean, I'm not saying how much. I don't know how much cachet Connell has to be able to do something like that, but
he has all of it.
Okay, well, and the reason why I say it is because that's a very unique situation when you talk about Coach Flores. Because, and I'm gonna say this, I think people need to he made a mistake with Tua when he was in Minnesota. It happens. Like, I'm coming from the Bill Belichick, jerk school of coaching and whatever it is. I don't really say anything in press conferences, but I think he's like, look, I'm a really, really good coach. I just became a head coach too early, and the guy that I got, I didn't think he was that good, and I shouldn't have said that to him, and I definitely shouldn't have, because if I say it to him, he's going to eventually say it to the media, and y'all are never going to forget about it. As if to say, and to me, what he said to Tua is small compared to what coaches say to players. I mean, coaches say some stuff, but he's building this, and like I say, the fact that he's still employed by the same people who he is suing, that is a 30 for 30. That is a football life. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But the fact that he has that rapport with his players, I think he's learned to say, look, whatever type of coach I am is going to be what they say about me. Forget the X and O's and where we rank. What they say about me as a defense, that's who I am. And that's any coach. But hey man, I know we finna get to the draft, but I just was thinking to myself, Harrison Smith, man, went to Notre Dame, right? Mm-hmm. I think he about to be in the, if he plays another state, if he gets another pick, that's like 40 picks.
Yep.
And 20-something sacks. That's crazy. That's crazy at his position. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, he is Mr. Minnesota, whatever they call him, in Minnesota. I mean, the greatest Minnesota Viking. It's always going to be AP. We ain't tripping. I get it. But I'm just saying, Harrison Smith, man, congrats to him. I just think that, Minnesota, when they go draft, they got to be thinking DBs because that's a lot of guys they got to cover. Now, it's a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. Green Bay adding speed guys. And you talk about Chicago and what they want to do. And you got that track meeting on the freaking the Detroit Lions these days. I know we finna get to the draft, but where you think they're going in the draft, Tyler? What you think? Because 18 is that that's that. Yeah. Do I get best available or do I get need?
Mm-hmm. So I'll comment on the Harrison Smith potential put on a headset. He might be one of the weirdest dudes in the league. Before he decided to come back and play this year, he was just doing construction for his brother. And then he just thought about, I should probably tell the team if I want to play this year. Like he's just a weird dude. And I mean that in a complimentary way, but I do think secondary is an interesting position. They need safety. They need to fortify that safety room and get Josh Metellus just out from playing a deep half or deep third. That's not his game. He needs to be more in the box, be more of like a money backer, and allow him to do the versatile things that makes him so special. Not just pigeonhole him into playing like half field. That's not his game. So if you fix safety, the odd thing about this defense in comparison to everybody else, they don't really need corners. They don't need to have these stud corners because the entire idea of this defense is to make the corner's job as easy as possible. They still need bodies, and I would love for them to go get, like, my top corner in this draft is Avion Terrell. I love
watch it. Carolina at 19, baby. Come on.
I love small corners. I love small corners that punch up and have 100% dog in them. I loved Quincy Riley of Louisville last year. He balled out for the Saints. I love Terrell. And Amari Harvey, sleeper out of Georgia Tech. That is my guy. Those kind of corners, I don't care if you're small. If you do everything else right, I'll live with the fact that you have some of those size limitations. Because quite frankly, I think size is a little overrated at corner as long as you have some baseline ability. And Terrell has all that baseline ability. He's successful in the run game. He's willing in the run game. He pattern matches well, stays in the hip pocket, attacks the hands and through them when the ball gets thrown to him. So it doesn't matter that he's got a couple shorter inches with his arm length. I don't care. He still gets the football. Good enough for me. But I think they're going to end up going defensive line. I think they'll end up going trenches because you can't really get stud defensive linemen unless you get damn lucky like they did with Redmond, unless you're drafting them high. They haven't drafted a defensive tackle high since 2013 when it was Sharif Floyd. And they got lucky because he was supposed to go top 5 because he was a traditional 3-tech. He dropped all the way to 23. So I think the defensive line makes the most sense. Secondary makes a ton of sense. As long as they don't take an offensive guard, I think they'll be fine.
Tyler, like, don't give me that. He's the best guard since
Donovan Jackson from Ohio State last year.
Look, they were just obsessed with fixing the entire interior. Jackson had a good rookie year. I think he's going to be a really good pro. Just don't do it again. You're paying Wolf Fries a bunch of money. You think he's good. Give him another year. Don't force it. Just take good football players and make sure, and if possible, let's get him at premium positions. If the best player is in a premium position, I don't care. I would love a linebacker. Give me a stud off-ball guy. But I don't think that's the direction they'll go. I think they're going to go D-tackle if they can.
2 more from me, Tyler, and whatever Ben has left as well. Been so generous with your time. Tyler Forness here on Winning the Division, episode number 91. We'll get to what you're doing with A to Z Sports here in just a second. I have to hit this before you go. I think you know where I'm going. So I'll frame it to you like this. Everyone knows the news now about Kwesi and obviously looking for a general manager now. My question, part one, why do you think he was let go, and kind of the summary version for our fans of you're kind of tied into Minnesota, you know the ins and outs there. And then number 2, where are they going to go with quarterback? I'm not going to say this is a J.J. McCarthy issue. Just do you think J.J. McCarthy can be the guy? Can he take like a Bryce Young leap that we saw here in Carolina, this year? Where is the quarterback long-term solution there in Minnesota?
So the Kwesi thing, I think, is twofold. One, I think he's being scapegoated really hard. I think everything's being blamed on him. And it's easy to blame on him because, one, the ownership is obsessed with O'Connell. They love him. And 2, Kwesi's approach to things has been very questionable at times, especially with how he's managed assets and how he's managed the draft. It's been weird. So it was easy to kind of pin him on. But honestly, most of why he was fired was the draft and not securing a backup quarterback last year that was better than Carson Wentz. I think he was doing a much better job than everybody else did. I also understood why he got fired. But if O'Connell has a bad year this year, he's done. There are no excuses. They fired the O-line coach, or they didn't renew his contract because his contract expired, and they fired Kwesi. So you basically said the O-line was a problem because of the O-line coach, and our lack of success at quarterback is put on Kwesi, which everybody knows that O'Connell handpicked J.J. McCarthy after they couldn't get Drake May. They could not hold out that they loved McCarthy. Everybody knew. It was an open secret. But it feels like O'Connell's doing a hard PR push to put all the blame on Kwesi so he can alleviate himself of that, which, I mean, it's a smart move. Kind of slimy, but it's smart. I think what they're going to end up doing is what they tried to do in the 23 draft. I think they're going to trade for Anthony Richardson. They tried. They offered.
Look at this.
No, I'm just like, way out. Hey, different play. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of Anthony Richardson. I mean, hey, I'm not in the building, but hey, okay.
Now, this is just me reading between the tea leaves and a prediction, not necessarily what I would do. I'm not quite sure what I would do at this point, but they did offer 3 firsts and 2 seconds to the Cardinals to go up to 3 in that 23 draft. Cardinals did not want to go down that far. That's why they made the trade with the Texans so they could go get Will Anderson Jr. O'Connell loves Richardson. He loves the idea of working with him. And then there was that viral clip after the 24
I was
game.
about to say he did come up to him and say, "Man, unless you're going to be a star." Oh, wait. I mean, Tyler might be breaking. Okay. Stick it with that thing. Quarterback aside, 2-part question.
Yeah.
Do you think Justin Jefferson going to be a problem this year? Because he's been very, very outspoken about JJ and not really getting the ball. And number 2, where do they fit in this very, very competitive NFC North?
So Jefferson was very outspoken this year, but the one big thing with him, everybody tries to paint him like he's a diva wide receiver, and he's just not. He's just honest. And sometimes the frustration got to him this year, and completely understandable. The quarterback play was abysmal. If Sam Darnold would have stuck around, I think the Vikings are in the Super Bowl, because he above average quarterback play gets that team to 12 or 13 wins. They won 9 with terrible quarterback play. Like, they were in a lot of those losses. And if you just elevate the level of quarterback play, which then elevates the offensive line and elevates the wide receivers, everybody plays better, and it alleviates pressure from the defense. I think they could have been a real competitor or contender for the Super Bowl. But it's so interesting with him because everybody wants to paint him like this diva, but he's not. And then to kind of parlay that into the second part of your question, Ben, with how they kind of fit in the landscape of the NFC North, I don't even know what the NFC North is going to be next year. The Bears overachieved, but they're also ascending. The Lions are, half the time they're a disaster. Half the time they look like the most dominant team in the league. And the Packers beat up on everybody they should, except the Browns and the Panthers. And then when they play big time teams, they lose, but they always win like 10 games. They're always there. They've been the 7 seed 3 years in a row. Are they ever going to get over the hump? There's people in Packers media that thought LaFleur was going to get fired. And then news came out that it seems like Micah Parsons tearing his ACL saved his job, because now there's an excuse. Oh, this is why we end up faltering down the stretch. I think the Vikings could be anywhere from 1st to 4th in that division. And I don't think there's any result of the NFC North that would surprise me next year, just because of where all 4 teams are at. They're all in limbo and they all have major question marks.
Yeah. Get to your work at the NFL Draft, A to Z Sports. Talk about what you're doing with them and just some of your coverage. And, for people who may not follow the draft as closely as you do, and obviously others who do good work on the draft, what do we need to know about this 2026 draft that's rapidly approaching here in April?
Yeah. So I obviously cover the Vikings and Gators for A to Z Sports, and I also do a bunch of NFL draft stuff. The biggest thing with this draft is it is not sexy. Your best players are at non-premium positions. Your top 3 players are, my opinion, safety, linebacker, and running back, which would have been great in like 1997, but it's not necessarily perceived as great in 2026. There's a lot of good players in this draft that are going to go about half a round earlier than they should, just because there is not a ton of depth. And like, it's just one of those years where everybody's going to want to trade down and acquire picks for next year, but you're not going to be able to do that if everybody else wants to as well, because next year's class appears to be loaded. Even the top, like all the top guys going into the year, people thought Peter Woods would be a top 5 pick. He had a rough year. Garrett Nussmeier was going to be a top 10 quarterback. He might not get drafted. It's just been a weird year. And I think some of it's NIL in the transfer portal, because players they have incentive now to stay longer, because quarterbacks, they're getting like $3 to $7 million to stay another year instead of going to the NFL and maybe getting like $3 million in year 1 because they were a 3rd round pick. So I think it's going to benefit the NFL long term, but I think this is one of the few years that we're going to see where it's just hindered because of that. And yeah, it's not a great draft class, but I think you're going to have a lot of like long-term starters, maybe not stars, but a lot of really good players come from it.
Jeremiah Love gonna have to save this entire draft class.
Yeah,
my opinion. I mean, because we get it, Fernando and the quarterbacks, Klubnik, and you're talking about Nussmeier. All these got DJ Lagway. People kept asking, why Why would Arch come back? Because he's going to be the number 1 overall pick whenever he comes out. I could come out next year. I'll be the number 1 pick. They say he took a pay cut. He's a Manning. He was going to get NIL. NIL wasn't even around. Like, you'll be fine. Just
Oh, yeah. The Arch he just seems like he doesn't seem like his family. He just wants to go to college and be a college kid. I mean, sure, he's making millions of dollars, but most people in his position with his background and his ability, there's no way most kids his age would have sat 2 years at Texas. I just think he wants to be a college kid. And you know what? Good for him. And he gets to leave college and go to the NFL and a multimillionaire, which that would rule. But yeah, we'll see if he goes number 1 overall, because I think if the team doesn't need a quarterback, I think Jeremiah Smith's got a great case to go 1.
I'm just saying, 2027 is going to be, the draft is all about headliners. And when you don't got quarterbacks to headline it, it's hard to sell it, because quarterbacks are easy. You just selling a quarterback means you just say his name a whole bunch of times between now and April to where you feel like you know him by the time he gets. That's all you got to do to be a headliner. Guys like love Fernando, but he's going to the Raiders. So your consolation prize for being the number 1 pick is going to one of the worst franchises in football right now. And when they say, can he save the Raiders? No. Nobody can save the Raiders. It is no. But Tyler, man, listen, man, we appreciate you taking the time today, sir. I mean, the fact that you get to do the Gators, you cover the Gators and Minnesota, that's either a really, really good combination or a lot of stress, sir. And your hair is still long. Hopefully, Florida can make your Saturdays good to go into Sundays, and then hopefully Minnesota can keep that thing going, man. But keep doing what you're doing, man. We appreciate you taking the time coming on, winning the division. And like I said, go Gators. What is it? What is it? Go Vikings. Skull Vikings. Skull Vikings. Skull Vikings. And hey, Nick Foles is a folk hero because he got to do it for 2 different franchises. Is it weird that Nick Foles has a statue outside of Lincoln Financial Stadium?
No. That game was all Mike Zimmer did not know how to stop the RPO, which Mike Zimmer is one of the best defensive coaches I've ever seen. And the RPO just gave him fits, which is kind of funny in hindsight, but it took a little bit to get there, because that game, like as a lifelong Vikings fan who's been tortured, that game hurt in a way that, like, I don't think any other game has really hurt before, because the miracle and like,
look at Smitty. Look at Smitty. You already know what game hurt me. Yeah, 28-3 in the Super Bowl. I'll never live it.
No. This is Vikings Panthers. Do you remember the game when he's on the Raiders now, but Jeremy Chin got 2 touchdowns in about a minute time with the Vikings
I remember that game.
Yeah. Jeremy, and then all us Panther fans thought Jeremy Chin, this guy's a stud from Southern Illinois. Again, Matt Rule back in the day as well. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He's on the Raiders now. But anyway, Tyler, we do appreciate you coming on, man. It's been great. You've been, again, very generous with your time. I didn't mention Chris Leak, Gators. Ben, I think I told you this story. I used to be so my dad and I would go to this like restaurant. I'll get you out of here on this. We went to this restaurant on Saturday mornings, and we were a group in Charlotte, and it was very well known. Chris Leak, his brother, CJ, who played at Tennessee, and their dad would be at this same booth every Saturday morning. It was called Easttown Family Restaurant. Shout out Chris Leak for listening to this. Come on, win the division. But we would see him every Saturday, and we would just dap him up and just nothing fancy. Just say hello, and everyone go on with their day. But it was kind of like everybody knew everybody who came into that diner there in Uptown Charlotte. Let's call it like 1998, 1999 time frame. So. There's my Chris Leak story.
I mean, it's cool. Listen, Chris Leak, all-time leading passer in Florida Gator history, which to me is crazy to even think about it, man. Walked away a national champion, got the prettiest. I got to catch a deep ball from Rex Grossman. I got to catch a deep ball from Chris Leak. I don't know who has the prettiest one, but they are very catchable. They make it so that you can't even drop it. But I got to ask, Tyler, is the Mall of America in Minnesota? Is that what the Mall of America is?
Yeah, so It's about 3 miles away from the airport, which is perfect for travelers. It's about, I want to say 10 to 15 minutes from downtown. If you've never been, I highly recommend it. They built it on top of the old Metropolitan Stadium, which is the original home of the Vikings and the Twins. And then if you go in the Nickelodeon Universe, the little theme park they have in there, you can actually step on home plate where they have it in the exact location, which is very cool. Mall of America is like 4 stories. Takes about 15 minutes to do a loop. It's really cool. But I mean, it's in the modern age when you have Amazon and all this online shopping, it's not quite the same, but that also kind of makes it better because there's less people.
Yeah.
I go every once in a while, but if you've never been, it's a must because 1, it's really cool to be in that big of a mall. And 2, they do a really good job of upkeep and it's very nice.
All right. Add it to the bucket list.
Definitely. Yeah. I've been through Minnesota's airport. That's my extent in Minnesota. So.
Hey, MSP has been voted the top airport in North America multiple times in the last 25 years.
I did not have any complaints.
Well, Atlanta will never be. I live in Atlanta and it will never be. Atlanta is a universe. Atlanta is like big cities in the highways. They always building on it. They will never, when Jesus comes back, he's going to get lost in Atlanta airport because they're going to be building on it.
Hey, it's better than Charlotte, which always seems to be under construction every time I pass through.
That's true. Though I live in Raleigh now. RDU was much better.
That's good.
They call it Delay City in there in Charlotte. That's
the only good part about the Charlotte airport is it has a Bojangles. That's it.
Oh, yes.
Listen,
Bojangles is the truth. Yes.
So Tyler's like, okay, I'm going to be delayed. I'm going to go down here and get a couple of Bo-Berry biscuits. And hopefully, when I'm done, and I'm going to get something to go. So that's cool. Give me the 4-pack.
Tyler, we appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for doing it. We'll have you on a little later on, maybe preview the Vikings when we get to our division previews.
Yes, sir.
Down the road.
Yes, sir.
And we'll talk to you as the 2026 offseason.
Jonathan Grenard is better than Danielle Hunter. That's another conversation for another day. They just flip-flop. One went to Houston, other came to Minnesota. They didn't lose anything. I'm just saying.
He's not better than Hunter, but he's a better fit than Hunter in his defense.
Yeah, Jonathan Grenard has made a really nice career for himself. A guy that ended his career with them Gators. And I'm just saying, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, it might be the best passing duo in the league. But, hey, man, we'll see. I'm looking forward to having you back to talk X and O's. I like old TJ Hawkinson with the long hair like you. I just want to talk about him a little bit.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, see you. All right. Well, let's get as we go. As we head out the door, Ben. Let's get into our headlines around the league to close out this episode here on Winning Division. Plenty of draft talk. Ben, the combines this week. So before I get into the headlines, give me your. We'll have to do a little quicker because we went a little bit over there with Tyler.
Yeah.
But, the combine starts essentially tomorrow. According to this on Monday, starting tomorrow. What is the combine? What is not the combine? And for those who just may not know what the combine is, or they know of it, right? But they don't really know what it is.
The best way to look at the combine is like this. This is the greatest showcase of the best athletes coming out of college to go to the National Football League. You're talking about 300 and some odd players of the 90% of the draft is going to be at the combine. 10% won't be there, but this is a chance to see how these guys look with no pads on. How fast does Jeremiah Love? How does Fernando? I know that Fernando Mendoza said he's not going to throw the football, but it's a chance to get to know these players because Smitty, we've known him so much with a helmet on. We get to see him with that helmet off. And can you sell? Does your brand sell? Can you sell your brand to the masses? We know you can play football, but can you sell? Because Smitty. Sometimes, man, you'll fall in love with a player based off something he said. Like, did you hear what he said? Like Tyler just said, if a kid comes on and say, man, I love Bojangles. Oh, he's a Panther. Wait a minute. Just slow down. But I will say, I think the combine is the greatest spectacle when you talk about non-competitive sports. Like, They're just out there running. Listen, they're running, they're jumping. It's the shorts Olympics. They're out there in shorts. Let's see how fast you can run. Let's see how high you can jump. Let's see how much you can lift. And let's see if you know the last day. You know when the DBs come in, they go Deion Sanders. Talk about the DBs, but I'm looking forward to see some of these guys put up some big time numbers. Some people are gonna really improve their draft stock because of how well they're gonna perform at the combine.
We'll see if anyone comes in for Xavier Worthy's 40 record.
I mean, listen, that boy should just ran out. When he ran it 2 years ago, he should have just ran on out the stadium. Give me my 100K. I like
that. Let's get into some headlines though around the league here as we head out the door here on winning the division. I'll go through these a little quicker. First one is about replay. NFL is mulling allowing replay officials to throw flags for specific penalties. It says, although the appetite might be limited for what would be a major change to the league's officiating approach. So, Ben, what's your thoughts on that?
Wait a minute. Who could throw a replay flag for?
The NFL Competition Committee is essentially discussing the possibility that replay officials can throw flags for specific penalties.
I mean, if they getting it right, because if it's just throwing and you still getting it wrong, and you making us wait another extra 5 minutes for you to still get it wrong, so a human error is going to be a part of it, Smitty. I think once again, you're giving too much power to these officials who already got way more power than they should. I think it's a trial and error thing. I got to see how it goes in the preseason, see if I like it or not.
Two franchise tag news. The Falcons putting the franchise tag on Kyle Pitts. That happened earlier today. And then the Dallas Cowboys did not put their tag on George Pickens, but they are saying that they are very much aware that it is definitely a possibility there in Dallas, but George Pickens may not like it very much, and that might not be he might do some socials and some things around if he does get tagged.
Kyle Pitts getting the franchise tag means that that front office is trying to make sure they lock him down to give him time to put together a new deal. This is the first time he's had a breakout year since his rookie season, and they want to make sure they know that, listen, we know we got you. That way we don't got to worry about other teams coming to snatch you up. The George Pickens, that's kind of peculiar to me because CeeDee Lamb is already making a bunch of money. I know you're going to give him a real nice deal if you are George Pickens, but I don't know if they're sold on George Pickens as far as like the person. They sold on him as a player, Smitty, but a player of his, you give him the franchise tag so that give me time to negotiate. To not give him anything, that's dangerous to me.
Yeah. And the other Cowboys news I forgot to say in conjunction with the Pickens is Cowboys agreed to a new 3-year deal with running back Javonte Williams.
As they should. I mean, these running backs, congratulations to him. I mean, when you talk about being able to lock down the guy, coming over from the Broncos. So congratulations to him. Hopefully he plays that 3-year deal. I think it's like 3 years, $16 million or something. So it's very, very cap friendly.
Couple of cuts and releases and retirements as teams try to trim down their fat for the 2026 offseason. Former Panthers center also played for the Baltimore Ravens. Bradley Bozeman retired, announcing on Instagram, played for the Chargers these last few seasons after his time in Carolina. And then the Patriots released running back Antonio Gibson after 2 seasons with the team, former with the Washington Commanders, where he got drafted under Ron Rivera. And then finally, the Chiefs cut defensive end Mike Dana as they continue to cut their cap.
Listen, retirement means that I'm walking away on my own terms. So shout out to that man. I mean, we talk about getting cut. Roster moves are going to be happening. They're going to be happening a lot well up until the draft because they're trying to get ready for free agency to clear up that money, and they're trying to be able to fill the holes of what they didn't do in free agency. But when you are a veteran making big money and your production has dropped, and the young boy behind you production is fair to yours, is even, they're gonna pick the youngin because they don't want to pay anybody. They definitely don't want to pay the veterans.
Yeah. And then it would not be right if I did not say this as well. The sad news over the weekend, the NFL did lose another player, Rondell Moore, wide receiver, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, drafted by Purdue. I almost mentioned that with Tyler, our guest tonight, but that didn't come up. So Rondell Moore died at the age of 25. over the weekend in New Albany, Indiana. Suspected self-inflicted gunshot wound, potentially the cause. So sad to see that news. And 25, just wait till you.
Yeah, the viral clip that did go viral, when he was sitting there talking with JJ Watt, when he was with them, when they was with Arizona, and JJ was talking to him about having a bad practice, and JJ was asking him about driving past. He said, "Look, man, you catch some jugs out the game." He said, "You know how many times I've been put on my butt, in a sense being in this league. I think, the Rondale Moore, what makes it hard is every player starts thinking about how they could have done more. And I think what we do for each other is we just encourage each other. We let each other know, look, there's a viral clip too. A.J. Brown sitting in his car went viral today talking about how it's just a game, man. I'm so much bigger than this game of football. Do not let football be our identity. You're good at it. Sometimes you're great at it, phenomenal at it. It's just a part of you. It's not all of you. The rest of your life is so much greater than what happens on the football field. No one's going to remember like that. As much as things go viral and everything is clipped, Rondale, I wish I knew him. Because to tell him, and look, win, lose, or draw, go home. Tell your family you love them, get to the next. Because I've been there. And, my hearts and prayers goes out to his family, because the greatest what if is when you take your own life. No one knows why, even if you write a note about it. But yeah, it's never gonna get easy, Smitty. That's why I do my best to encourage you, sir, as much as I can. It's not a Rondale thing. It's guys making sure we encourage each other, because it's hard out here. Whether you got a big bank account or not, make sure you let people know, man, you're doing a great job. You're a great husband. You're a great father. You're a great son. You're a great uncle. You're a great mentor. Whatever you do is what you do. Who you are is far greater than that. So, yeah, my condolences to that man. My condolences to his family. It sent shockwaves through the NFL, because he impacted. Like, even Max Crosby was talking about playing against him in college. He said that's the best player I've ever seen on the college football field. So we just got to do our part more, and I think we will.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to end it on that. So, Ben, as we get into the combine, as we officially, the NFL offseason is essentially,
Yep.
It is here. So, do you have anything that you want to shout out from the combine this week? Are you going to be watching for anything in particular?
Yeah.
This is where trades get made, deals get made here, franchise tags, as we know. Bryce Young got selected at this combine 2 years ago. The Panthers traded up with the Bears essentially during the combine. They announced it a month or so later. But what are you watching for as we close out this episode for the combine?
With so many brand new head coaches, I'm watching to see how these coaches maneuver. Like, how do they position themselves? Because there was a lot of turnover this year with the coaches, and I want to see if playoff teams are willing to deal, including your Panthers. Look, we ain't trying to take a step back. We need to be aggressive, trying to add to these rosters. And the more you can add to your roster in free agency, the more confident you go into the draft. The less you add in free agency, now I got to hit on this guy in the draft. So I want to see strategy. I really, really want to see, because strategy has a lot to do with your structure. And if your structure is right, there was nobody on planet Earth that saw the Seattle Seahawks doing what they did with Sam Darnold this year. No one saw that. Nobody. But you get the right quarterback with the right pieces around him, and you put him in position that he don't got to win it, just don't put him in position he's losing it, he wins Super Bowls. Because last time I checked, right, Sam Darnold won the MVP, and he was at Disney. He was at Disney World. You're like, so I'm looking to see how these coaches maneuver, because those who are willing to Mike Vrabel showed you, look, man, I ain't playing. And in the words of Coach John Summerall, the new head coach of Florida, he says in his introductory press conference, he says, I don't have a 5-year plan. I got a right now plan. I like that. I got a plan right now. 5 years from now, I'm 5 years into the plan. So let me see who got the right now plan. And this is where it starts. And Smitty, let me tell y'all, listen to something. Smitty is downplaying it. Smitty gonna hone in on 2 or 3 guys that the Panthers gonna get, and he ain't gonna not believe it until the draft is over. I think the Panthers are getting this guy. Hey, Panthers, go get you a stud to be right beside Cam. Get you a stud, not Cam. I'm sorry. That's Cam Jackson, even though he is right beside. What's y'all D tackle name? Yes.
Derek Brown.
Get you a stud to go next to Derek Brown, and life gonna get real ugly because Derek Brown is heated because he did not make the Pro Bowl. How? How is that even? I'm done with y'all.
We'll leave it there. This has been episode 91 of Winning the Division. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Remember, you are either winning your division or you were just in your division. Keep finding Podcast Network, Fans First Sports Network, Tobacco Road Sports Radio on YouTube. We'll be getting more guests for you as we continue to roll here in the offseason on Winning the Division. Look out for the mailbag coming up as well. Send in your questions, your comments, what you'd like us to discuss. But this has been for Ben Troupe. I am Ryan Smith, episode 91 of Winning the Division. We will see you guys next time.